we'll just wait for people to join. 2 minutes.
Yeah, we'll go live and then people will join.
Done. Sure. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
We'll just start in a minute, Bimal.
Sure.
And then people will join.
Done. Sure. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Sure.
So we can.
We'll just start in a minute, Bimal. I have my colleague Arushi as well, who leads influencer.in, which is an influencer marketing platform, and I'm here from Social Beat. But thank you so much to introduce Bimal to everyone. I think Bimal is the co-founder at Trell, which is one of the leading video platforms and lifestyle platforms today. I think I'll allow Bimal to share more details over there. But just some background on him. He's a graduate from NITI, where he completed his MBA, and he was also gold medalist in his ECE. And also he was the best employee across many organizations at ITC, GE, and Infosys. So he's always been a rock star, and I'm sure that's why his team also looks up to him, and they've built an amazing product at Trell. I've used the product as well, and really engaging content. So those of y'all who haven't installed Trell yet, I think it's time for y'all to download it while you're watching these videos as well. In 2017, Bimal started out Trell, and it has now become one of the largest lifestyle community platforms in India. I'm sure over the course of the conversation, Bimal, you will also share a lot of insights from there. So warm welcome firstly. To get started,
thanks, Sunil, for the kind introduction.
Yeah, definitely. I think to get started,
thanks, Sunil.
Arushi and I will both chip in with some questions for the next 30-35 minutes, and then we can open it up to Q&A as well from the audience and participants on YouTube as well as on Zoom as well. So just firstly, to get started.
Pleasantly surprised with the research that you have done. I mean, with the gold medals, and I don't know from where you've got this info, but
we have our sources.
You've done your research.
Yeah, I think, yes. No, definitely. I think the founding team is obviously very critical, right? So maybe you can just tell us a little bit, if you can rewind back to 2017. How did you start Trell? Obviously, social commerce. There's so many buzzwords around, right? So how did you all end up with the idea for Trell, and how have you validated the idea? And I think that would be a great starting point, Bimal.
Yeah. So this started in IIT Bombay in 2017. I mean, most of every time, when someone wants to start something up, it typically so happens that it's the problem that you're facing, and if you find no solution for it, can we invent a solution for it, right? So typically that was the journey that how Trell started to. In 2017, I mean, four of us, right, who co-founded Trell, we were good friends back at IIT Bombay. I mean, and then we had the summer break where we planned to go somewhere, right? Just to for 5 to 6 days of a short trip, and then we then started Googling out the places that we could visit according to the budget that we have, what people are talking about these kind of places. We started doing a research, and what we found out, it was very interesting. At that point of time, you had, when you Google all this, right, you would typically see a list of blogs that are popping up in front of you, a list of links, from different sources. And secondly, the blogs were too long. They were 3,000 to 4,000 words, right? And we then started reading more and more blogs, and then we came out to know that every blog on travel was actually 4,000 words, and people didn't have patience to read 4,000 words to understand what to know more about a place. Then we started digging deep into it, trying to understand why is the information so distributed, and why is this information even in 2017 back then was long form 4,000 word content, because no one's interested to read, right? People increasingly started valuing more about the time. So then we started reaching out to a lot of travel bloggers, wherein we understood that they did not have right creator tools, right, to write these short blogs, and most of the people, right, potential bloggers, they always had this mental block saying that if I had to be a travel blogger, I should have had this ability to write a 4,000 word blog, which was not the case, right? So we did a very simple understanding this, a problem statement. We launched a very simple product wherein we told every blogger that they could write about a place in 200 words, and they just have to attach 5 photos to it, right? So this it was a very simple format. uh, Go down to your gallery, upload 5 pictures if you've been at a place, and it asks you a few questions about the place. You just write down those little information, and then you submit. That's it, and you've done a blog, right? This was one simple innovation that we did at that point of time.
Right.
And this kind of innovation picked up by like a wildfire, and we came to be known in the travel circles. Even today, a lot of travel bloggers or travel enthusiasts, right? They think Trell equal to travel, even as of today. So this is where we started off, by doing a very simple innovation. Um, and then this became a full-time passion, because what we understood is the moment you get you give access to people to create such meaningful content, you'll not only break that barrier to create. You'll invite a lot of creators to come online and create this meaningful content at scale, because of which, right, the consumer at the end of the day will have more choice of information, will have better access to information. And this was the aha moment that we had back in 2017, and that was the journey of Trell. We were from 2017 to mid 2018, we were still doing text plus pictorial blogs, 200 word blogs. And we became a good rage among travel bloggers at that point of time. Even Instagram was picking at that point of time, and travel as a subject started picking up. If you've seen the trends, right?
Yeah.
A lot of photographers came in. It's not just about having an amazing DSLR camera. Just with your phone, you could capture a place and write beautifully about it. So that's the inception of Trell. And in 2018, it was a very interesting decision that we have taken. So we started thinking more about this, right? What else can we do so that we can have even more creators on the platform, right? How can we make it even more easier? So we just wanted to remove that text as a input barrier. We just wanted to have camera. Right now, you never even type. If you want to talk it out, you can talk it out. And we were one of the very early, platforms across the world, right, who started short video right, not only in India but across the world. That at that point of time, even you would see TikTok or Musically, they were also very early in their roots. So
Yeah.
we took this decision because we didn't understand the technology very well. We didn't understand, how the end output would look like. But we said, let's open a simple camera, give it to people, and let's see what they're going to talk about. And
How do you, we have many product marketeers and product managers also. How do you take some of these like bigger calls, because like data is sparse, you don't have too much idea. So do you do customer research, or how do you figure out कि okay मैं इस area में बनाने वाला हूँ कुछ? How does that
so it's
happen?
a very, very interesting thing, because most of the times, right, if you ask people, would you like to have this feature, they would say, yes, I would love to have this. But once you release it, they would say, no, I'm not interested, right? So it's that, right? So thinking on
If
behalf
you're not
of,
taking money from me, it's fine. Yeah, बनाओ जो बनाना है. So I think India people
yes,
don't like to say no also, right? They are like, yes, if you want to make something.
they would, but it's always that bias, right? Because people at the end of the day, uh, uh, unless until they do not see something, right, and they do not use it for a long time, they see that's how we see people leave breadcrumbs behind, right? When they use a product, that is the best way to analyze a customer's behavior. So we do a lot of focus group study when we launch a feature, or when we launch any new creator tool. We do a lot of focus group study, but at the same time, that alone does not is not the primary signal for us to launch something. We launch and then we test. So that's how we do it. So even when we launched this, right, we had this
Yes,
hypothesis
sir.
that people are going to use it, but we were
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
hello.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I think someone's been activated. I will just mute them.
Hey,
Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead,
Yes.
Bimal. Yeah.
So that's how, we had this hypothesis saying that let's launch video and let's give people access to a camera and let's see what they're going to talk about. We didn't know whether it's going to work because in the focus group study, everyone said this is going to be really insane because we'll be able to express more freely, right? And then we launched, and that was a turning point. Because of launching this sole feature, we had even more bloggers being converted into vloggers and other creators coming onto the platform and creating lifestyle content around travel, right? The creation shot almost 1,000% for us in this year. A lot of creators started creating content, and we were presently surprised by the type and the kind of the content they were posting on the platform. And again, this was a kind of an inflection point for us. And post this, right, other interesting things started happening because we just gave each camera to people. They not only started talking about travel, they started talking about other interests. They started talking about fashion. They started talking about recipe, cooking, you know, I mean, home decor, DIY, personal care, a lot of topics that people started talking about, not only travel. And organically, then we started growing up into more lifestyle categories, as you see today, and more languages, as you see today, right? So this is how then we naturally grew into what we are today, as a lifestyle video app, with more than 30 million monthly active users on the platform, and where creators create content under lifestyle categories such as beauty, fashion, makeup, personal care, etc., in more than 8 languages.
Understood. No, definitely.
Thanks, Bimal, for that. Thanks for those insights. So, wanted to understand, obviously, it's definitely been a long journey. So, at what stage, did you start working with brands, right, on the platform? And, and what's currently, like, how many brands are active currently? And at what stage, were you able to kind of get them on board?
So with brands, we started working with brands. We never introduced brands before. Also, the proposition for the brands is very simple. Today, any D2C brand, any locally made brand, right, who think they have a very unique and niche solution to offer to Indian consumers, they can come onto the platform. They can launch their own brand store, reach out to our influencers, get content made through which they can reach out to more users onto the platform, and also sell their products on the platform. Now, this is how we have started introducing Trell to brands as of today.
Understood. So predominantly the platform has been made for influencers, for creation of content, and how it's easy to share your perspective with the world. That's what your vision has been, Bimal, for the app.
Yes. So as I introduced Trell, so we call Trell as a lifestyle video app, right? So one thing that we always keep in mind is when you talk about categories under lifestyle, right? Entertainment is one aspect of it. The content has to be entertaining at the end of the day. But the other aspect of this content is it needs to it has to be factually correct because the content is actionable. People, after consuming this content, they could go back and try to implement or mimic the same that the influencer is talking about. So the content also comes with a lot of responsibility, right? And for us, if you look at the platform, the content delivery happens through only influencers or content creators, right? So it's a KOL-led, key opinion leader-led platform where creators or influencers come onto the platform and create this meaningful content for the users.
Understood. And out of the 30 million monthly actives which you are mentioning, like how many would be like content creators? That's been a challenge in India, right, for most platforms. So how many of those would be content consumers versus creators? And which categories have really taken off? I think that would really be insightful.
So it's very interesting. Trell as a platform, right? So we have seen we enjoy an abnormally high content creator to content consumer ratio compared to any other content platform in India or otherwise. So we more than 20% of the users on the platform are creators, right? They create content, right? So, but also if you talk about influencers, right, we have more than if you talk about typically users with more than 5,000 followers, right, we have more than 100,000 people who enjoy this followership on the platform, right? So that's how the current content creation ratio is on the platform. The reason is also this, right? The reason is it also depends on how we call this the mood setting of the platform. When someone comes onto the platform, if they see that the environment is safe and you can actually engage with the community, and there is no bullying going around, and all the community is working towards one common goal of sharing meaningful information with each other, it automatically gives confidence to other people to come and create on the platform. So this is how we look at it, right? So and the mood setting of the platform is very important, and we've ensured this from day one. So it's a non when I say mood setting, right, the other things that we need to the softer aspects of the platform is non-judgmental. It does not gratify people for having amazing great looks or amazing performance or dance skills that they have. It gratifies people for the information or the knowledge that they are sharing on the platform. So it's a very level playing field that we have given for the creators and for the community. One create on.
Sure. Thanks, Vimal, for that. Also, like, while there's so much content out there, right? There's so many creators, you like you mentioned. So how do you keep track of quality, right? I'm sure, like, and what kind of challenges do you face? Like, because there's challenge with quality, right? There's bad quality content out there sometimes. And how do you kind of track that? And in terms of how are people able to kind of discover the right content as well on the platform?
Okay, if I sorry, this is a network issue. If I try to understand correctly, you're talking about how people can discover relevant content.
Correct. Firstly, it was on the brand safety, right? Like how do you kind of remove the bad quality content, right? Like obviously there's so many creators, like you rightly mentioned. So how do you keep track of quality? And then secondly, on the discovery piece. Yes, correct. Two questions.
Yeah, I think as I introduced Trell as being a lifestyle platform, what we from day one, what we always had is a strong content moderation guidelines and tools available, because the information, as we discussed, it has to be right on two aspects, right? One is community guidelines, right? There has to be no profanity, no use of vulgar language or any other community standard community guidelines. Apart from that, it also has to be factually correct, not propagating misinformation. So it has to be right on these two fronts to reach to the audience. So the platform, if you look at it today, what we call it is a featured section. Not all content gets featured, right? If you're still creating content on the platform, for you to be part of a featured program, you have to pass certain benchmarks in terms of quality of content you're creating, right? The type of subject matter expertise you're getting onto the table, right? Unless until you do not pass through these parameters, you would not be a part of featured section on the platform. That is one. Second is obviously we have a very strong one is, when you talk about image scanning mechanisms, wherein we remove any profane content that are not up to community guidelines, but we also have a very strong manual moderation, right? We have a host of content moderators who sit and look at the content and delist or ban creators sometimes if they are repeatedly violating or creating factually incorrect content on the platform, right? So and third, we also have kind of a community moderation. It's a very simple thing that we do, right? We initially show it to a set of audiences, and the audiences which are very active in reporting content if it is not true, and if we find that has reported such content, it would not go out to a not get further reach on the platform. So these are layers that we have in place today to ensure brand safety on the platform.
Sure. Understood. Sure. And then, okay, yeah. And the discovery piece, okay, yeah, you to kind of answer. Yeah, sure.
So in terms of like the traction after the TikTok ban, was that like a big surprise, Bimal? I think we have discussed it offline, but from your perspective, after the ban, what was the change in trajectory, and have you all been able to retain the new users as well? I think it'll be great to hear about that.
Yes. So
I think the network's a little patchy.
reading, yes. Like they were who had this hockey stick growth in the last 2 months, and they were comparing all the platforms. Am I audible?
Yes, now you are, Bimal. I think for a few seconds it was off. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So I was referring to this interesting article by Morning Context yesterday. So they were comparing all the apps that had this hockey stick growth in the last 2 months, right? And they wrote an interesting piece about Trell having the highest retention among all the platforms today. So I think that's a good validation when someone outside has done this comparative study. So retention is one key metric that we focus on at every point of time. So yeah, that's on the retention part. Apart from that, the other interesting things that happened with the platform is the kind of content. Before, entertainment used to not have a very substantial contribution to our consumption, right? Our top categories were fashion, beauty, and recipes. Now, we also have entertainment coming in that mix of being one of the most consumed content categories on the platform. So this is one interesting, behavior that we are looking at, both on the supply side and the demand side.
Sure. And also, like, I wanted to kind of go into the creator side as well, because, there's so many platforms, like you rightly mentioned as well, right? So how do you keep the creators involved, right? Like once they join your platform, like how do you keep them engaged so that, they keep creating content that is relevant and, great for the platform? How does that work?
Yeah, so I think the right creators on the platform will anyways find the reach, because today we do not have a problem of demand, right? We still have 30 million million monthly active users on the platform, and it's growing 20% month on month. So we do not have a problem of reach for any creator on the platform. But what we ask the creator is to create the content that could be actionable and meaningful or purpose driven, right? As today's session talks about, for the end audiences. If they're able to do that, they will find their reach and they will find their audiences, right? Creators today, if you look at the creators are also very purpose driven, right? They want to find their right audience. They don't want to find any audience. They know they cater to certain category, they cater to certain interests, they cater to certain audience group, right? And they are creating content only for them. They don't want to be too broad. So creators also understand this, right? Creators today have increasingly become very choosy about the platforms that they want to create in, the kind of audiences that they want to create for, the kind of topics that they want to create in, right? So if a creator is very serious about this, they are on Trell as a platform, they will eventually find the reach. And I mean, over the time, we've seen creators who have been doing this, and right now they have 2 million or 3 million followership based on the platform, and very happy with the platform.
Sure, Bimal. No, very interesting. I think that brings me to the question on the audience, the 30 million monthly active. I think earlier we had the Bharat versus, the top city audience split. Like that's why a lot of apps are considered Bharat apps. But do you see that like as a big trend? Like you mentioned 8 languages for Trell. So do you see most of the users coming for the regional languages, or like is English and Hindi like your mainstay? Like how is the split by geography and language?
Yeah, I think it's one of the most misconstrued terms that if people consume in English, they're not Bharat. So I don't understand this Bharat versus English debate, because for us, in 8 languages, we still have English is one of the also, it falls under the top languages when it comes to consumption. We have a very good tier 1 user base on the platform, right? So and also there's this misconception about who are these users who consume vernacular content. If you look at this panel today, I'm sure like everyone consumes content in their own language, right? When it comes to video, because videos, there's no barrier to video, right? Text, yeah, we do understand, right? Most people today might not have this ability to read content in their own language, but like my mother tongue is Telugu. I can understand Hindi. I watch movies. I watch Malayalam movies. I watch Tamil movies, Hindi movies, right? English, Hollywood. So for me, language is not a barrier. So similarly with our audience set, it's very interesting. They don't consume content only in one language. In fact, in future, we're going to roll out an interesting feature, because it's a request that's come from a lot of people who said we want an option for multilingual. We want to consume in English or Hindi. We want to consume in Hindi and Tamil. We want to consume in Telugu, Tamil, and Kannada. Right? So this is how we're looking at the mix today.
No, that's very interesting to note. I think obviously a lot of the large e-commerce companies and all also now starting to create like localized content, right? Earlier it was either English or Hindi. Now obviously a lot of them are starting to create local like apps also, right? I think a lot of the apps also today are adding plugins to localize the app. So from day one, by all like 8 languages, or how did you all like add languages, and how does that add to your growth trajectory from a brand's perspective? And
We started with English, and then Hindi, and then the other languages. Again, it was as I talked about, it was a very natural progress. Because it's camera, people are coming and posting in their own language, and then we knew that if so many people are posting, then that means let's open up that language, right? So that's how we are doing. So right now we are under 8 languages, pretty much focused on this, because I think would first solve for these languages and then slowly open up for more.
right.
Where the traction for which languages are the most currently, like out of the 8?
Yeah, so right now Hindi is the top consumed category. Then we have Tamil, right? So these two. Before we used to have English, I mean, because we started on English, but slowly the other languages started picking up, and some of the languages have shown really high stickiness, such as Malayalam and Kannada. Also because they're not able to get such content anywhere, right? And most of the content they get are boring, long, 10-minute, 12-minute on YouTube, right? So when they discover our platform, they stick to our platform and watch a lot of content.
Sure, Bimal. And like, in the long term, like, what is your thoughts on helping content creators monetize, right? I think like TikTok announced like a $400 million fund. YouTube's been making some waves in terms of helping content creators monetize. And I think Instagram also, with or without Reels, looking at monetizing for content creators. So do you see that as a big area where, Trell can enable content creators to become, independent and focus on content creation as a full-time activity rather than a hobby? Or do you think that Trell is not meant for that? Like,
I mean, even if I remove Trell from this context, right? What if we talk about creators today? Content creation is a full-time job, right? It's a profession, right? For most of the content creators today, that is what they're doing, right? That through which they are earning the bread and butter, and proudly doing it. So even if you remove Trell, YouTube, Instagram, any other platform, today content creation has to be recognized as a primary, profession, right? So even if not primary, we've also seen other folks, right? So in daytime they're doing their regular jobs, right? But evening when they come home, they're going and then they're creating some content around, right? So in Trell we have there's a Tamil professor, right? He's actually teaching at the college in the morning, and evening he comes and talks about literature, right?
Right.
In Tamil, and he creates videos in Tamil, right? So similarly, right? So it's but he takes it very seriously. He takes it as a second profession, and he's very disciplined about it, right? He has to post one content every day, right? So these are things that we're looking at. So I think for Trell also, it's very natural that we need to give these creators sources of revenue. and ability to monetize on the platform. And we have one team that's dedicated only for this, trying to unlock monetization, streams for our creators on the platform. One thing that's very natural to us, because being lifestyle, and because of we being closer to lifestyle, we are also closer to products and services, right? Introducing them to the end audiences. Once we do this, obviously, a lot of revenue or monetization avenues open up, because people are engaging and buying those products or services that are being introduced by the KOLs on the platform, right? So we are thinking of ways and mechanisms in which we can introduce KOLs to such monetization streams.
Right, Bimal. No, absolutely. I think we had, at influencer.in, Ayushi and the team had led research with around 850 influencers in India, and around 15% were already having their primary source of income as being an influencer. And out of the remaining 85, 70% wanted to make it their primary source of income. So you're
Yes.
spot on. I think many have that aspiration, at least, that this is going to be my ticket to freedom. I think obviously one of the challenges we have seen, like as an influencer marketing agency, also is that there is a lot of fake followers on other platforms, right? I don't know how you're dealing with that as well right now, but once you start seeing monetization, I'm assuming that that will also become a challenge, because people, charge like say 10,000 rupees per 5,000 followers. So as you have more followers on Instagram or on YouTube, more subscribers, then as an influencer, you are able to charge a lot more to a brand. So that fake followers becomes a challenge as the platform starts helping content creators monetize. But since you all have not done that, I'm sure right now there's not much fraud in terms of fake profiles on Trell, right? Or are you already seeing that issue as well crop up to some extent?
No, so one thing that works with a platform, if you see, again, we're a feature first platform, right? So uh, most of the creators, because we're featured first and we have a lot of demand of 30 million users month on month, if they get part of this featured mix, if their content gets featured, they would get their followership, right? Little things that even someone gets featured for a week or more, they are getting 300,000 to 500,000 followers on the platform, the way they create content. So getting followers on Trell is not a platform if the creator is very serious about their job, right? If the creator is very serious about what content they're posting, they've done their enough research, they're dedicated creators on the platform, they would find no difficulty in finding reach on the platform. So that's how we look at it, right? And second, I also so as you guys did your survey, so we also happen to survey a lot of influencers, right, across multiple platforms. One interesting insight is, obviously there are people who want to become creators for money, but more than 75% of the people said I would delay it, right? Before that, let me find my audience base, right? They want to cater to certain audience. They want to be known as a creator. They want to establish the name as a brand. So that is what they're focused upon, right? And post that, they want to obviously focus on monetization, but let it be more natural, right? So we have also interacted with a lot of creators who want to follow this path, not being very transactional from the word go, right? And look at India, right? We what such a huge population we have, and so many creators today. There's no dearth of creators, right? So if a creator has to become, if a creator is really serious about his or their brand, they should be first focusing upon their content, their reach, their audience base, and then they have to start about monetization. And if they are doing that, why not? Trell is a platform for them. We would also do that.
No, sounds exciting. Looks like I should become a content creator at some point. At least
Yes,
in
yes,
this
absolutely. I think we should be doing a masterclass with Sunil on this.
no.
We should do a role reversal, actually. You would have more insights than me when it comes to influencers, but yeah, happy to share.
No, definitely. I think you all have created an amazing platform for influencers, to reach massive audiences, which is what influencers want, right? I think one is obviously money. To some extent, what we have seen as the influencers mature, then they start looking at money, as you rightly said. Initially, audience, and then it's money. So, go ahead, Arushi.
Sure.
I still remember the Three Idiots dialogue. Yeah, so
That's my favorite money. Yeah.
yeah.
Do
So
what you love, paisa and
aa
success.
jayega, aa jayega. Because if a creator's name becomes a brand name, I mean, brands have for brands also today we talk about, right? Influencers now are also one of the ways for them to talk about their brand, reach out to more audiences, right? Because it's very authentic. So interesting conversations I had with a lot of brands today, right? What they say is, hey, if I'm doing an ad where I invest a lot into production, into an ad agency that is doing this, kick-ass, video commercial, versus real people talking about the brand, right? After using it, right, and after finding it really good. When they compare these two, kind of, let's say, videos for a given reach, right? This one did a positive brand lift, right? By at least good 10 percentage points than just be a video ad that is well produced by an ad agency, right? So this was specifically we talked to some of the skincare brands, right? And this was a very interesting insight.
No, I think even Sugar Cosmetics, another brand which is doing amazingly well. I think
Yeah.
they've used influencers a lot to scale up and have crossed 100 crores in revenue without a mainstream campaign. So definitely, I think Arushi had a question.
Yeah, I had a question before I'll then kind of start asking you questions from the audiences. In terms of you talked a lot about the content currently. What currently trends on Trell, right? What kind of content? Like you mentioned, there's a feed, right? Which as
Right.
so what trends there? Like just want to understand before I take the questions from the audiences.
Yeah. So for us, the top I mean, it usually changes from language to language. But if you talk about total consumption, right? So entertainment, fashion, beauty, and recipes are the top categories on the platform.
Sure. Thanks for that. I think someone from the audience has a question on how can brands collaborate with you and list their product and services on your shop section.
Yeah, so right now it's a limited beta program. So we have. So I'll be happy to share that contact with you guys. So we have been very selective with the brands that we want to onboard currently. It's a very simple process, but we have a team that looks into brand onboarding. So I'll be happy to connect you guys with them.
Sure.
So what are the next 12 months looking like, Bimal, for, what's your roadmap going forward for the success, and, what's the next milestone you all are looking at? Are you all going to be an India-focused video platform or have global ambitions to go to other markets?
No, we're going to be India focused. India is a very big problem to solve. For us, we think it's still a 10-year problem. It cannot be solved in 1 year or 2 years. It's still baby steps that we're taking. A big problem statement. So the roadmap is very simple. We are seeing a huge growth. So we'll be investing in a lot in the content side when it comes to grooming programs. So so we have a specific team that only looks into grooming these creators. Because at the end of the day, when we talk about key opinion leaders on the platform, they're not only entertaining you with content, but they also know about the latest trends and they're subject matter experts, right? So we are investing in grooming program that could eventually make a lot of KOLs from different languages. This is one. Second is obviously we'll be innovating on new content formats. That could help people engage more on the platform, introduce them to new different content formats, right? Because if you see today, the shelf life of a new content format is not more than 2-3 years before it becomes a common feature that is adopted across multiple platforms, right? So we need to be ahead of the curve. We need to understand what our users need and then innovate on the content formats. And third, yes, because of lifestyle platform, we not only we want to help people discover new products and services, we also want to help them buy those products and services on the platform by single click of a button. So we'll be introducing more products, more brands, more SKUs and experiences to people on the platform. So this is going to be the next 12 months.
No, sounds very exciting. And from content type, when you're mentioning formats, like does it include like AR, VR, like augmented reality, or like what do you mean by content formats? Like it would mean like blogs, for example? Or?
Yeah. So I mean, to answer that, content format. So if you talk about if you rewind the clock and go back for audio visual content formats, the rise of audio visual. So it was in 1900s you had radio being mass adopted by everyone, right? For as a means of communication, and it took 30 more years for black and white video to be mass adopted through televisions, and then it took 45 years more for people to have color video, right, adopted by TVs. And but if you see in the last 10 years, what's happened is Snapchat. I mean, it was just 9 years, 8 9 years when Snapchat introduced stories as a format. Now this format is mass adopted across all platforms and also by users as a common means of consuming this content, this form of short content. And short videos, it just took 3 years. Now it's a common feature across all platforms.
Sure.
All apps are talking. For some, it's bread and butter that they only do short videos. For some, it's a feature on their app, right? So if you talk about in the next 2 3 years or next 1.5 years, you'll have more innovative content formats, and people will move towards more interactive, content formats where they could have an opportunity to engage with the creator on the live, real-time basis, right? Or so these kind of content formats would pick up, and we have a R&D team that works and is currently testing out new content features. So we'll be introducing them soon on the platform.
Another question from the audience, Avinash has, what according to you would be a couple of key points for brands new to content creation? What? Yeah.
Sorry, if you can rephrase.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What according to you would be a couple of key points for brands to keep in mind who are new to content creations, right? Like who are new to this whole influencer marketing, new to kind of tying up with content creators, and what should they keep in mind?
I think one thing is very clear is they need to be very selective of the content creators they're engaging with, right? Because even in content creators, there are two ways, right? But if you look at you need to first look at their audience base. How trustworthy this creator is, right? That you could eventually know by the type of engagement that particular creator is getting wherever he is, right? On Instagram, on Trell, or YouTube. The engagement will talk about how people are engaging with this content and what kind of questions they have for their content once they post. So for any brand, right, once they've understood to which audience they want to cater to, the other thing the next thing that they have to do is they have to be very selective of the creators who are going to create content around their brand, right? Because as you're a brand, the creators are also a brand to their followers. So that right matchmaking is very important for any brand. And the rest assured, the creators are very smart today. The creators are very, very, very well aware of what kind of content they should be making for their audiences. They have their own principles in terms of if they are a good creator, they know if it is right for the audience, they would make a video. If it is not, they would come back to you and say, hey, I'm not going to make a video because I don't think what you're talking about is really not true, right? So if you reach to a right creator, you would get benefits of both.
Sure.
So, Bimal, I think moving to, from the content creators and brands to Trell's marketing itself. So how have you positioned it to users in terms of your communication strategy? I saw a campaign as well. I'd love to hear a little bit about your communication strategy, in terms of acquiring users and influencers.
Yeah. For user, so we are now doing a lot of campaigns to our end users, right? So where I think there's a new campaign that we're launching this Independence Day too. If it was ready, I would have shown this, but
yeah.
So it's a very interesting campaign that we're doing where we are asking everyone to come and tell their story on the platform, right? So if they have a story to tell, Trell is a storytelling platform. You can pick up your interest, or click the plus button on the app, and then start telling your story to the world. So this is kind of a campaign that we're doing. We want to be more inclusive, and we want to invite a lot of people to come on the platform and start creating. Leave all the inhibitions behind. Can they be a creator or not? We're a very non-judgmental platform. If you have a story to tell, you have to be here and tell your story. So this is one campaign we are doing for the users, right? For influencers, yes, we already have some reach out programs wherein we are talking to them, and because if they are not there on Trell and creating somewhere else, and we think that they could be useful to us, we have reach out programs wherein we ask them, invite them to come and try out a platform, and eventually most of them find success on the platform, and they stick to the platform.
No, that's a very interesting, Bimal. Would you like to share a little bit about your like team structure? How have you all built it over the last 2.5, 3 years since 2017? And maybe you could even share like some of the open positions which you're recruiting for as well. I'm sure some of the participants would be interested.
Yes, I think so. Our teams are again. So we operate in a pod structures, right? Teams are given certain problem statements. There's a team that works only on creator tools, right? So that more and more people can come and start creating on the platform. There teams that focuses on growth marketing and right channels for acquiring right users on the platform. And there's a team that only works on content strategy in terms of understanding what kind of new interest categories should we launch for a particular language, and what kind of categories would make sense for our end users for that particular language, right? A team that only works on this. There's a community and a grooming team that specifically looks into the NPS of the creators on the platform, our key creators, helping them with, as we talked about, new monetization mechanisms, helping them with insights, wherein we give them, what kind of content or how can they improve their content to get more reach on the platform, right? And obviously we have the product and the engineering teams that work day and night. If you look at the current surge that we talked about, most of the platforms struggle to even maintain the servers, but we were very comfortable, and we anticipated this from beforehand, and our engineering teams have done amazing job to cope up such a scale in such a short amount of time. So this is how our teams are structured.
No, definitely, Bimal. I think hearing you, I think you mentioned Three Idiots, another movie which is my favorite, is Guru as well, right? He talks about, banana hai sabse badi company polyester ke liye. So I think talking to you clearly, you can see the passion to build an amazing platform, which is why I was asking on your global ambitions as well, given that you all have already got 30 million monthly active users, which is no joke, and you all are scaling up month on month. There is a massive opportunity to go out there and create a top world-class platform with an amazing user experience. So best wishes over there. I think Arushi, you had one last question before we round up.
Yeah, I just wanted to know any last thoughts for, there are a lot of, I think, content creators watching us live on YouTube and brands here. Any last thoughts for them, from your end?
I think if any content creator is watching this, and if even if you're there on Trell or not on Trell, but our teams pretty much work for creators, right? So if you have any queries in terms of how to build your own brand, right, even if it is not on Trell, anywhere else, right, we would be happy to help you, happy to share whatever knowledge we have with you, so that you could succeed in building your own brand as a creator on any platform. So we're open to this. You can reach out to me. It's bimal@trell.in. That's my email ID. Not yeah, I know, not very fancy, but bimal@trell.in is the email ID. You can reach out to me if you're a creator. We would definitely help you with your journey.
Oh, sure. Thank you so much, Bimal.
I think just on the eve of Independence Day as well, I think the ban on TikTok and the national movement has definitely helped Trell, and I think it's a great time for us to also connect and hear you, Bimal. Our best wishes to you and the team to continue marching forward and make a amazing platform and make all of us proud and create a lot of opportunities for content creators as well. I think that community is growing by the day, and it's really great to have a Indian-grown platform like Trell to support the content creators. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sunil. Thanks, Arushi. Thanks for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.